This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
So we moved on there past the vignette, and we moved on to the referees. They were in the back getting into it. You had WCW and the WWF referees, and that will lead us to Miss Jackie and Crash Holly. Kurt, did you ever enjoy working with women in the ring?
I worked with China, and I actually loved it. She was great. I mean, she was really basic but very effective, and I really enjoyed working with her. Crash here Crash working these women. He gets his butt kicked by I think Jackie here. I think she stiffed him pretty good too.
Yeah.
But she was amazing. Jackie, she was wrestling like a guy before women were doing that. In other words, women now, they're actually just as good, if not better than the guys. Back then, they were treated as sex objects, and they would have bikini matches, wet t-shirt contests. Jackie was a wrestler. She was a badass, and she proved it in the ring. She wrestled like a man back then when they weren't doing that.
And you can hear the respect. I've heard other wrestlers being interviewed when they talk about her. It's always the same. She was a badass. She was a hard worker. She knew her craft. Hey, she's a Hall of Famer and very well respected when it comes to as a female performer.
Incredible athlete too.
And you know what? But I tell you what, this was before its time, right? There's wrestling companies now doing energy.
You can't do that anymore. A punch a girl in the face.
No.
Back then the Attitude Era was a lot different.
But they do have these intergender matches, especially more on the indies and things like that now, where, hey, we want to mix it up. And so this is kind of before its time when you talk about it, intergender matchups.
Yeah, you're right. Now they do tag matches where they mix match, male and female. But, the females usually don't get in the ring with the males, and the males don't get in the ring with the females.
Yeah.
They're very careful about planning that match out.
And Crash, I tell you what, man, to be at this point, again, this is 2001, 20 years ago, to be tapped on the shoulder and say, hey, we want you to go out and we want you to wrestle Jackie tonight. We want you to wrestle a woman and just carry it like a professional. He does a great job here. Makes it entertaining, believable. There's a skill to that. And he does a great job with Jackie in this match.
He certainly does. Crash was a great performer. He has a big heart, and he's had a lot of success, and he's an undersized wrestler. He's quite small for the position he's been put in. I love the name Crash because that was what he did. He crashed into people. He was reckless, and he was a little guy that would just, chop down a big guy and annihilate them. So, but here he loses to a woman, unfortunately. I don't mean to ruin the finish, but
yeah,
it's going to happen here soon.
Would you, do you think you'd ever have any objections to putting a woman over like this, Kurt?
Like this, I don't know. But would I put a woman over if I had to? Yes, I would. Especially someone like China or, even Charlotte Flair. She's had so much success. You could pit her up against any male today. So she's somebody that I'd probably do a job for.
I was going to ask you, like, who would be the top in your eyes right now? And obviously you answered there with Charlotte. It's incredible. Not only did she kind of bring her father and what he could do almost forward, but now the athleticism of what she can do in the ring is top notch.
Well, Rick was a great athlete, but not as nearly as athletic as Charlotte. She's incredible. One of the best female athletes I've ever seen, especially for her height.
Yes.
She's a stocky girl. She's pretty tall.
You have Jackie here. She beats Crash. She bloodies his nose up a little bit here. So he's going to take that with him back to the locker room. But again, very well done match between the two of them here. Very entertaining. And she comes out on top, and Crash does a nice job. It's all believable. It all looks great on TV. And we're going to transition now onto the next segment, our RC Cola Rewind, I guess, of the week. And here we are with Jeff Hardy, Lita, and Matt are wondering what's going on with all this. And interesting times here again with the Hardys and Lita. What did you think of the way women are projected here? I know we talked about it already a little bit, but what were your thoughts about how the women were handled at this point?
Well, back then it was more, you know, women flirting with men, trying to hit on them to get what they want. You know, women would do bikini matches. It was a lot different back then, and now, you know, they do everything that the men do, and rightfully so. That's the way it should be. But back then, the Attitude Era was different. It was a different time and a different place, and you know, the boss Vince McMahon had different plans on the table for it, and you know, it was the most successful time in professional wrestling, though. So there's something that was done right with that.
I tell you what, though, but when you think of the top two women, yes, there was a lot of sexual things. There was a lot of different, you mentioned bra and panties, wet t-shirts, all this kind of stuff. But Lita and Trish will always be two of the top names that we think about now that really, though, kind of still helped bring the women's wrestling forward. They were great performers in ring and had some classic battles in these days.
Yes, they were the start of it with Jackie. I mean,
Yeah.
Trish and Lita, they spearheaded women's wrestling. They were the very start of the evolution of women's wrestling, and they did an amazing job.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.